Let's quickly pray. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, thank you for this glorious day and for the Advent and preparation to celebrate the birth of the Messiah, as it's common in Christianity these days. And we ask your blessing for us to be a good light of you in this special season when people are more open for spiritual things, and give us wisdom and guidance, and give us also strength and preparation, and in the preparation to end this semester strong, and give us strength and just guide us. And we ask your blessing for this discussion. We ask that you will be with us, that you will be in our midst. We invite Yeshua, Jesus, to be with us and to be glorified in our midst, in everything what we will say, in everything what we will discuss. We commit this discussion to you, and we're grateful for all your provisions, particularly for the food that you provided. In the name of Yeshua we pray. Amen. Amen. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So we're going to talk today about was Jesus really born on Christmas? So there are different views on this topic. Traditionally, Christmas is the birthday of Jesus in Christian tradition. And could you advise me or tell me a few views of yours why he should be born on Christmas Day in the end of December? Any ideas? Many of you grown up celebrating Christmas this way. So why? What were you told in the church? What was your personal study? Just let us briefly share different views, interact about these views, and I will give you like some ideas leading to the perspective that I would probably introduce as mine. Yes, please go ahead.
It aligns with the Roman holiday of Saturnalia. And so it was thought that if they can align the Roman holiday with Saturnalia, they can convert the Roman Empire, turn that holiday and make it Christian. And so they set Jesus' birthday on the 25th.
Okay, explain the word that you used.
Saturnalia was the name of a pagan holiday in the Roman Empire, worshiping the god Saturn. And so they as the empire became Christian, they didn't want people worshiping Saturn anymore. They wanted people worshiping Jesus. So they took the holiday and just stamped Jesus as on the top.
Okay, when you say that, do you mean like pagan roots of this, or it's a good thing that it?
Pagan roots. Yeah.
Okay, pagan roots, but is it good and is it not good?
People stopped worshiping Saturn.
Yeah, that's what actually I mean.
Yeah.
Is it like a good thing that if it's true, is it good if that they replace the pagan holiday with Jesus holiday or not? So it's
like a good version of replacement theology.
Okay, replacing the Jewish. Well, what?
No, replacing the pagan.
Okay, replacing pagan. Okay, good. Okay, well, it's sort of biblical. There is no pagans anymore, right? And like in Jesus, there is no Jew, no pagan. Just everybody is somebody. Anyway, other ideas.
The timeline was, Dr. Pikman, we were taught that because the shepherds were out in the night.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But when do you think that Jesus was born?
Oh, when?
Yeah, I know. I like this. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, there was no YouTube at that time to record, right? So it's difficult to know for sure. But like, what other options do we have? Why December 25th? For example, Jacob sent me last night very interesting information he found on Facebook, right?
And have not fact checked.
I know. No, but Jacob,
You're
believe it or
back.
not, I did last night.
Who fact checked it?
Yeah,
Oh.
I did fact check on
It's quotes from
that.
the church fathers. So
Yeah, and well, yeah, I did fact check on that like 3 in the morning. But anyway, thank you for sending. Do you want to tell what is that about?
so I guess it was saying that like Tertullian, Augustine, and like two others suggested December 25th. Because I guess the idea is that like for holy people, they're usually conceived on the same day that they die. So that's how they calculated. Yeah. So 3 months they calculated Easter, the day of the crucifixion, March 25th, and so 9 months later, same thing. Heaven.
Do you remember why? So the idea is, yeah. So it's very interesting point. The idea is early church believed that all good, godly people, or the prophets, as they claim the Jewish people also believed, although maybe in the book of Jubilees it was a little, but not necessary, clearly stated like this. Maybe with Moses, he died the day he was born. But the early Christians believed that that prophets and the good people, they are somehow their birthday or conception and the day of death are the same day. They died the same day. So Jesus died for Passover, and it was like as they calculated the March 25th of that year. I'm not going to deal with that too much in depth, but let me tell you some facts about this briefly. And Jacob, thank you very much. Actually, one of those church fathers considered to be the father of this idea. So the first who mentioned that considered to be Hippolytus of Rome, and his idea was that Jesus was because Jesus died on March 25th, he calculated back. Then Jesus was conceived on March 25th. He never said anything about December 25th as his birthday, but he just said that he was conceived on March 25th. Now, this assumption was probably already a little bit there among the early Christians, that something happened with Jesus' birth in March, when or end of March, when they thought and they knew Jesus died. But he never said March 25th. The early or the later church fathers or the later theologians, they thought, okay, March 25th, the pregnancy is usually 9 months. It means December 25th is the birthday. There was no facts for that, neither by Hippolytus nor by Sextus Iulius Africanus, and it's like 2nd and 3rd century AD. One of the church fathers or theologians of that time, who considered the father of Christmas. Some call him the father of the idea that Jesus was born end of December. He actually referred to the same idea, and he went a little bit further, just saying that, so he said that it was December 25th. Now, the idea of Hippolytus of Rome, that Jesus was conceived on that Jesus was conceived in wait a second. No, sorry. I take these things back. Jacob, you should correct me. So Hippolytus said that Jesus was born shortly before January. But this passage of Hippolytus is not there in original texts. This is in later Latin manuscripts, but not in early Greek manuscript. So we cannot tell for sure if Hippolytus indeed stated that in his commentaries on the book of Daniel. And then the Sextus Julius Africanus was the first who mentioned that Jesus was conceived on March 25th. And from that, the church tradition took its idea that Jesus was born on Christmas Day, end of December, and the later church fathers went with that. The idea of Africanus, as well as other church fathers, was not the historic facts, but more theologically. They said it was sort of naturally. If Jesus died that day as a prophet, a righteous man, or godly man, he should be conceived on that day. Now there is another idea attached to that. Birth or conception. What was in March, if you take it theologically or like an idea, not necessarily historic. So with other words, December 25th is not something what is based on the real facts, and church never based it on the real facts of history. It was more like theological idea attached to this. You see what I mean? So that even early church fathers, relatively early church fathers, and after Nicene theologians, they claimed that it was December 25th, but there was no one early historic record to support it. So, with other words, there is no historic evidence for December 25th at all. There are theological ideas and concepts saying that it would be right thing for Jesus to do, with other words, but it's not necessarily a historic fact. Also, for the theology, or like, let's say, Hellenized, a little bit, but pagan influenced theology of that time, it was even more common than for the Jewish tradition to believe that main, like, people of history, or like godly people or big people, they are born or conceived on a very important calendar events. Certainly in Jewish mindset, there was such idea, not necessarily birth and death, or conception and death on the same day, but like events in the history of the patriarchs and Moses and David. There was, like, maybe later, a little bit later, rabbinic tradition, as well as in the book of Jubilees, indications that their major events of their lives were attached to the event, to the holidays and the special appointed times. Interestingly, the church fathers, some of those believed that the world was created on March 25th, because it's so natural. Jesus died on that day. He was conceived on that day, and the world was created on that day. Is there logic? Yes and no. I mean, it sounds wise, but I just like I send it then to ChatGPT just to see what ChatGPT would say, and ChatGPT said it's speculative, and I agree with that. So I just like, it might be true, but not necessary. So, any comments, any thoughts to this?
I had a question.
Yes.
Is there any record placing Caesar's census? Any indication of when that census took place that got Mary and Joseph into Bethlehem?
I think so. Do you know something?
Yeah,
about this,
usually-
Dr. Jens?
Usually well, it depends on which census you're talking about, because Luke mentions a census under when Quirinius was governor of Syria.
That's the one that I'm thinking.
And they know that one externally dates to about 86 or 7 or so, but the way Luke says what he says can be interpreted as this census, the one that took Mary and Joseph to Bethlehem, took place before the census when Quirinius was governor of Syria, because the Quirinius census was accompanied by a revolt. And it gets mentioned again in Acts with a definite article, the census. You know, the one that everyone knows about.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a revolt connected to the census that took Mary and Joseph to Bethlehem. So this one is before a later census, because if it were the Quirinius census, then you'd be off by 10 to 15 years on the date of Jesus' birth. So you really have to peg it. I think you'd have to tie it to the death of Herod. So it has to be before Herod's death, and so that was about 4 BC. So that, but you've got to talk about the year of the birth before you talk about what day it was.
Yeah.
So there we go. But we don't. Yeah. So which the gospel writers had said what day it was.
Was the census a certain part of the year though? Like, was it like you could come at any point during the year? Was
I don't
it
know. Yeah.
Only winter?
Yeah, we don't really know. You'd think it would take a long time because people would have to travel back to where their ancestral home to be enrolled in the census. So
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
How the theory comes to the point that it's the 25th of March to point this, the point of Jesus death and stuff like this.
Yes.
Because it depends on this that we come to December 21st. But
Yeah.
what is the argument that it's March 21st?
No real argument.
Okay.
I mean, no real historic argument that I could find in the writings. It's more like the idea that because Jesus died on 25th, he should be conceived on 25th.
I think you asked why
Yeah.
did he die on March?
Because why? Because Africanus calculated. So he went back and just according to like when the historic events happened, he calculated when the Jewish Passover was like year 29 and 30 AC.
Okay.
That was the reasoning that I found.
And is that pretty accurate, do you think?
Well, I didn't. This fact I didn't check because I still I don't believe that. Well, personally, I'm not sure that it's true. So I didn't take much care to check if it was March 25th or not.
yeah.
But it's easy to do. I mean, we can
Harold
ask-
Hunter's book, Chronological Aspects of the Life of Christ, is an excellent resource.
Mhm.
You can get it on Kindle pretty cheap. You can be reading it within 2 minutes if you like. But he dates the crucifixion and the first Easter to April the 5th of 33 AD.
Yeah.
It's amazing all the data he goes through to reach that, but he gets a precise date for Jesus' death.
So this is
but
correct.
not one for his
Crucifixion the third,
Yeah.
resurrection the fifth,
resurrection of the
33 AD.
of 33 AD. Yeah, not
Okay.
30 AD, which is assumed by a lot of
Would
people,
that have been Nissan 14?
more or less. Yeah, I don't.
So, but March 25th is correct.
March 25th. Well, it's in the ballpark. Yeah, it's a week too early, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
March 25th date is also
Yeah, that's
based
it.
on 29 AD.
Nobody knows.
Yes, that's
And-
what.
and
yeah.
we're looking at something that said
That's what the
33 AD.
early
Yeah.
church
Yeah.
fathers did, how they
And they-
calculated. And
Yeah.
again, it's not necessary historically. It's just an idea. And in fact, they never Well, it was. I'm not sure that it was such an important issue at that time.
No.
It was more like an idea,
Yeah.
and I do think that that December 20, so March 25th was for a purpose, as the church fathers mentioned. This is the day when this is when the sun, the day and night are of the same length. So good that you know this word. That's how people pronounce it. Can you say it again? Solstice. Okay, good. So this is the day, and December 25th was considered the day when the night was the shortest, or the longest, and the day is the shortest, but there is a turn. How do you call this day?
It's an equinox.
So the equinox would be
6 months.
when so equinox is when the
Same.
day and the night are the same length. So solstice is the other end
Yeah.
of the
So
calendar.
solstice would be winter solstice and summer
Yeah.
solstice.
Okay, so the December is solstice,
Winter solstice.
winter, and equinox is March 25th. So that was the idea. So, for example, for Jesus to be conceived on March 25th and be born on December 25th was natural for them. Not historic, not necessary calculation, and first of all, but it's sort of natural. It should not be necessarily related to the pagan feast, but why not? But the idea was that there are like special events, cosmic events with the sun, and it's like reference to what Jesus did for us. Let's take it and celebrate it. So it was, again, I'm emphasizing it's not historic, and church fathers never necessarily claimed that. Early church fathers, the church later did, but the early church fathers never claimed that it was historic.
So Hippolytus, right, is the guy writing about this. Was he writing before it was associated with Saturnalia? Was this before the pagan holiday was converted, or was this after?
Before.
Before. So this is not with that.
Yeah, before, but the holiday was already there, and actually it preached well as well. So you could preach it. So it was not officially replaced, but it was already there. So the idea was already among people in their mindset, like pagan idea, or a little bit Jewish idea, that the holidays and the big people, they're connected somehow.
There's also a bit of a reticence on the part of some in the early church to celebrate birthdays, because the only birthday celebration you find in Acts is Herod's birthday celebration, in which he struck down by an angel. So there, that association between a birthday feast and an evil ruler probably took hold in some people's minds anyway. They said, well, we aren't going to celebrate birthdays. So
yes, but not the early church fathers. They didn't even Afrikaners didn't care for his birth, but about his conception, like incarnation. So the birthday celebration came later.
Mm-hmm.
So they could calculate the date, but they didn't care too much about the date of his birth, more about the date of his conception, that they attached to 25th. I'm talking about pre-Constantine, pre-Nicene church fathers. After Nicaea, it was already a different story. It became official. By the way, I suspect it also in a certain sense of anti-Jewish sentiments, because the Nicene events and everything related to that was also, among others, to solidify the division between the church and Israel in many respects. But it's another story.
The quote from Tertullian, you saw where it was from. It was an adversus Judaeus.
Yeah, exactly. So that's That was one of the reasons. Now, there are different views on when Jesus could be born, even among us. So yesterday somebody told me that why not in summer, right? So, and that's okay. We could argue that. Huh?
Who told you that?
No. Well, I do. Can you support this idea?
I just said, growing up in church, I was told December 25th was not probably the day. It could have been somewhere. And that's, so like, I never looked into it, but that's what I was told growing up. So now I want to know, I want the answers.
Well, okay. We don't have enough time for the bold answers, but let me mention quickly other perspectives there. So in Messianic Jewish tradition, most of the leaders think that Jesus was born during Sukkot. Some think that he was born for Hanukkah. Some, and I belong to this group, that believe that it was around Passover season. But all of us, we do follow the path to some extent, the path of the early church fathers. It should be attached to a very significant event, and particularly in Jewish calendar. So Sukkot would do, Hanukkah would do, Passover would do, in my opinion, even better. Because he is the Lamb of God, and, Passover lamb, why not to be born? Because you should take the Passover lamb that is 1 year old. It was the commandment given back then in the Torah. For me, it's logical that Yeshua should be born during the Passover season. But now let's talk a little bit about the events of that time. And there are some myths related to Christmas. Do you remember, when the wise men coming from the east, they went to see Jesus, and the star was leading them. Some people think that it was a cosmic event that was leading them there. I would doubt that, because the star was moving pretty weird. I mean, from east to the west, and then south west, and then it stopped. I would say it's rather the Israelites were following the Shekinah, the glory of God, as a light in the desert, and as it happened. But it's not directly related to his birth. But let's think of the events of that time. He was born. There was no place in Bethlehem. Some people would say because it was the pilgrimage holiday, and all the places were taken. He was placed in a manger, right? So when should it be? Yes.
Well, there's that. So if you're gonna do a census, it makes most sense to do it when everyone has to go there anyway. So all the inns packed and stuff, because the Jerusalem and its vines would get full for people coming for it.
So the census was, as rightly pointed, not done over one day, or even 1 month. So people could choose when to come, and the godly, pious people, they should come for the pilgrimage holidays. So it would be natural that Joseph and Mary came there also to kill two flies with one clap, to celebrate the holiday and to participate in the census. As we know, their family history, there was a holiday that is explicitly referred to when they were coming every year to Jerusalem. What holiday was it? Passover, yes. So the family of Jesus, they were doing their pilgrimage for Passover. And just keep in mind, in Jewish world of that time, people were not coming for each pilgrimage holiday necessary 3 times a year, but at least once a year it would be doable from, let's say, Galilee. Otherwise, it's quite a journey. I mean, it's not flight, not bus, and not bullet train. Yes.
So is Bethlehem close enough to Jerusalem where if they were, let's say, no census, would they stay in Bethlehem and go up to the Passover? Or is this like, because we're already going to Jerusalem for the feast, let's also go down to Bethlehem?
How should I know that for sure? That's just like
Bethlehem is only about 2 miles away.
yes, it's just like you can see it. It's just like it's there.
So maybe those were their closest relatives.
What about Sukkot? That would be a nice time for him to come.
I know you came a little bit later. We talked about, but we will talk more. So some people say that he was born in a sukkah. That's the main reason for many Messianic leaders to believe that it was in Sukkot. So sorry. Well, it's not about the animal. I mean, it's like mentioned. You talk of a later Christmas tradition that there were animals.
Really?
Yeah, in the Bible there were not mentioning the animals. Yeah, oops, and no swine, no pigs, you know. And listen, and the wood to make the manger of wood at that time in that region would be like making that of gold. Because the wood was not like so common, and to feed the animals from wood would be like horrible thing to do. At the same time, the Bible says that if their animals are not in a stall, the manger is empty, so there is nothing to feed the animals from. So if he could be placed there were no animals in that place. So just I'm not willing to kill the Christmas joy for you. But just but it's let's celebrate. But just a little bit truth would be also a little bit challenge. Yes.
Another thing is the mention of shepherds in the field. Because the Talmud says that in the winter months, the sheep they would not be in the field, they'd be in the city, within, well, not the city, but yeah, they're not in the field. And probably the sheep were for temple sacrifices.
Yes.
And so,
Passover, right?
right.
They're all dead.
There you go.
They're all
It most likely was not in winter.
Exactly. It was Passover season, maybe. Anyway, but true. It was most probably not in winter. Now, what else we know about that? Yes.
A whole new concept of there no room in the inn presented to me this last year. And that is that a lot of homes back then, and I've never been to the Holy Land, so I have no idea, but that a lot of homes back then were built up over caves, and that the caves served as their stables, and that's where their animals were brought in at night and kept, that kind of thing. And so the idea that he was born in the town of his relatives, that they have come, that he might have been born right there in a home where his relatives were. That's a whole new idea and concept to me.
Well, he could be born in a cave, because yes, you're correct. They were, I know, they were used for the animals. Especially, so like in winter particularly, but it was empty of animals.
But we think of our stables like we have our barns today, like you said, out of wood and whatnot. And
sure, but it's already like more. Many things like this are more King James time ideas, when everything was done of wood. That's why even like Jesus was a carpenter. That's not necessarily the true. Most probably was not. He was like
Construction worker.
Like a stone
mason or like construction worker, whatever kind, but probably not a carpenter. So let me move quickly in the next few minutes to leave you with many challenges. But look, he was born in a manger, cave, whatever. Then when the wise man from the east came, who might be the Jewish rabbis, not necessarily pagan magicians, but it's another story. Just write your PG on that. If you want, or just let's say no. Anyway, so as the wise man came to Bethlehem to worship him and to give him presents, where did they find him? According to the Bible, in the house, not in the manger any longer, in the house. So all these pictures, the kings coming and bowing down in the manger of wood are wrong, biblically speaking.
Herod ordered the children in Bethlehem from 2 years old and younger killed. So Jesus might have been as old as 2 years by the time the Magoi.
Yes and no. Now it's just like I know it's just like maybe.
Yeah,
But let's continue thinking of this. So they came. He was in the house. They weren't Joseph, and Joseph decided to go to Egypt with his family. So they went to Egypt. How long took the journey to Egypt?
Not 40 years this time.
How long would you say was the journey? I would say couple of days would be sufficient, because they go to Egypt and just go out of Judea. So Judea and then Egypt. So it's like couple days journey. They could go further into Egypt, but it was not necessarily the case. They had to go out of Judea to flee from under Herod's jurisdiction. So they went there. Then what we read the next, they bring Jesus into the temple to dedicate him. When was the dedication of the firstborn, or of the child, male child born, according to the Torah?
8 days.
No, it's circumcision. When?
12.
40 days. So after 40 days, he should be presented to the Lord, and they brought like pigeons and something very, very humble, because the Torah says that if somebody is very poor, this is the sacrifice to bring. So Joseph and Mary were poor people, humble people, simple people. They did it in the temple. So now he was born, circumcised. They flew to Egypt. Sometime this wise man came during that time. So they flew to Egypt. After that, they came to the temple. And from the temple, where did they go? Do you remember? Come on. To Nazareth, to the city they used to live. So now, from the temple, after his dedication, they never returned to Bethlehem, but they went to Nazareth. So the thing is, the timetable might be: he is born in Bethlehem, circumcised there, the wise men visiting him there. They flew to Egypt, come to the temple, and return to Nazareth. Never back to Bethlehem. That was not their home, actually. So the thing is, it could happen really quickly. When did Herod died? They returned. They came to the temple after Herod died. When? In March, during the Passover season. Like the historians, Josephus among others, mentioned that here Herod died in March. So Jesus is, it could, what I mean, it could go very quickly. Like Jesus is born, the wise men came, They warned Joseph. Joseph got the revelation to go to Egypt. Couple days journey there. Meanwhile, Herod dies. They return. They return to Jerusalem between his birth and his dedication, at least 40 days. So it's relatively short period, and then they go and stay in Nazareth. Another story is with Zacharias. His service in the temple was, some people calculate that his turn was like, if I'm not mistaken, 8 group of the priests. They served twice a year in the temple among like 18,000 priests. Zacharias was old, but not too old. He was not older than 50 years old, because 50 years old of age, priests could not serve in the temple anymore. He retired. So he was not so old. He was just like 40 something. The Bible says that he was old. I feel horrible. But still, according to the standards, it was not like a Christmas miracle that they got a son. It was according to the age. They were not like Abraham and Sarah, but it was God's revelation and a miracle in this regard. If you want, I can give you a calculation, or you can calculate as well that John the Baptist could be conceived after Passover season, or during the Passover season, or during the Sukkot season. 2 options: 15 months around, give us his 6 months plus 9 months. So Jesus was conceived as John was 6 months in the womb. So 15 months, whatever. It comes calculation. So it's
if John was Passover, then Jesus would.
No. Wait a second. Let me look at my notes.
Nothing.
Just a second. Let me look at my notes, because yes. So he could. No, my mistake. So he was. He could be. So Zacharias served in the temple either in the months of Sivan, that is mid-May to mid-June, or months of Kislev, November, December. So if he immediately from the temple, and it was very special occasion for him to serve there, if immediately after receiving the revelation in the temple, he went to his wife, and instantly John was conceived. And why not? Because it was announced. It was miraculous anyway. Then it gives us 15 months from mid-May, mid-June, or November, December. And Jesus should be born either Sukkot or Passover, if everything went this way. So the calculations for me, Sukkot or Passover, but Passover makes much more sense. Even if following the idea of the church fathers, that the birth and the death go at the same time for the big people and the prophets. Well, I need to let you go, but the bottom line is when he was born exactly is secondary to the fact that he was born. And just let's celebrate Yeshua, Jesus, but at the same time be curious and in studying the Bible and questioning some traditions, while not neglecting the fact that this is a special season in the world we're living in the Western world, in United States, and we need to use this season to glorify Yeshua. He is born. The world became flesh, and that's what matters. In all this, happy Advent side, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and strong semester end.